Hello everybody, welcome to Viva-Mundo's webinar. Today we are traveling all the way to Hong Kong. We are going to be speaking with the University of Hong Kong and how they can help you in your next search for study abroad opportunity, particularly in a dual degree manner. Now, a little bit about us, who we are, Viva-Mundo. We are here to help you on the next step of your travel and study abroad life. We have advice on visas, on destinations, anything that you need to get you to the next level. We're here to ask any questions. Please do answer any questions throughout the whole webinar. We do have a Q&A box just at the bottom of the screen, and we will get to those at the very end of the webinar. But from me, that's all, and I'm going to hand you over to Mr. Ying.
Thank you, and hi everyone. Welcome to the session by the University of Hong Kong. I am Ying. I'm from the admissions office at the university, and today I want to give you a little bit background of studying in Hong Kong. Probably, some of you may think studying in Asia is a potential option for you. So, and I think I would offer some insight into that, followed by an introduction of the university itself, as well as the dual degree programs that we have in collaboration with some of the top universities in the world. And to finish it off with some admissions information, how you can apply and how you can be considered for HKU programs, as well as how you can be considered for those dual degree programs. So again, if you have any questions, do feel free to ask during the session, and I'll be very happy to address them towards the end. Now, let's talk about Hong Kong. So other than the famous guideline, probably you've seen many, many times on the news or on when you do research as well, Hong Kong is actually known for more than just its view on the city life. In fact, you can see that there are a couple of reasons why you should consider Hong Kong. There's an article written by QS just a couple months ago, and they talk about why students should consider studying Hong Kong, and some factors are going in favor of Hong Kong. First and foremost, the things that you can do, the mountainous backdrop, the beaches, and also things that you can really do just during a weekend or even like at the end of the day. A very prosperous job market, ranked 20th worldwide for employee activity. And even despite the effect of COVID-19, how the university, how the city is really rebounding from its previous economic kind of like a depression, so to speak, and really a lot more companies are hiring right now. HK is also home to 8 publicly funded universities in Hong Kong, many of whom are ranked quite highly as well, and the education obviously in Hong Kong is world renowned. And last but not least, the highly international student population, where there's a very high number of international students studying across different levels, bringing together the Eastern culture with the West, and also home to lots of expatriates living in Hong Kong. So now about the location of Hong Kong. Hong Kong is located at the heart of Asia, in Southeast China. You can see on this map right here. Within 4 hours, Hong Kong has access to many locations in mainland China, as well as in Southeast Asia. And within just 5 hours radius, you can see that Hong Kong is already able to reach or close to half the world's population. That's another reason why a lot of multinational corporations would decide to set up their headquarters in Hong Kong. This is more than just the consideration for finance, more than just a consideration of the business landscape, but also obviously benefiting from the location of the city. In addition, Hong Kong has an extremely efficient transportation system with many subway stations. You can see on this line here, allowing you to go from one end, close to the Shenzhen China border, all the way down to Hong Kong Island or the beaches in probably we're talking about in an hour or so. Extremely efficient. The university that I represent, HKU, also has its own subway station. As you can see here, 3 stops away from the central business district in Hong Kong, extremely convenient for students as well. All the courses at the universities in Hong Kong will be taught in English. And the quality of education is also definitely on par with a lot of leading universities in the world as well. In terms of the cost of how much you will be expected to pay, Hong Kong is also considered considerably lower than popular destinations such as the US, Canada, UK, Australia, as you can see on this chart, and a breakdown of how much you would be spending approximately per year in US dollars. Though Hong Kong is very famous for the expensive rent, living on campus or near campus, staying in a dorm that's provided by the university would allow you to significantly reduce that cost. So as you can see here, making living in Hong Kong extremely affordable as well. Last but not least, on the topic of Hong Kong universities also offer ample scholarship opportunities for students. All students will be considered for the merit-based scholarships immediately without the need to submit a separate scholarship application. There are obviously other scholarship funding available by either the government or by private donors. So there are tons of those opportunities available, covering students, for example, the tuition fee, and for really exceptional students, tuition fee plus living allowance as well. So that will further bring down the cost that you will need to study in this part of the world. So now let's talk about the University of Hong Kong. This is a project that our students have done in the past, and robotic fish being the world's fastest robotic fish and breaking a Guinness World Record twice along the way, a project done by students supervised by a professor at the university. And that's the kind of competition, that's the kind of projects that you would expect to do when you're joining a university, working with like-minded students, being a part of the culture where all the students will support one another to achieve what they want to achieve and achieve what the passion leads them. Another example of our students would be what they've done. At the last Microsoft Imagine Cup, a group of students pitched their idea to the CEO of Microsoft, and they won the World Championship. And now this app that they've come up with become actually something that's being incubated at the University of Hong Kong as a startup. Again, another example to show how our students are not just excellent in terms of their academics, but also in the things that they do. And you are definitely, when you join the university, you will also be inspired in such a way to become a student like them. HKU is also very much leading in terms of our research, also in terms of our effort in fighting COVID-19. As we speak, Hong Kong is probably one of the safest cities in the world with very few cases at the moment. I believe single-digit local cases in the past 50 days in total. I think that's pretty impressive. And thanks to a lot of the advice from the HKU Business School, where a lot of our professors are actually also on the advisory board for the Hong Kong government, allowing them to devise strategies to help combat COVID-19. Now let's talk about some rankings. HKU is ranked 22nd in the world according to the latest QS World University Ranking, 4th in Asia, as well. As you can see from the list of subjects, the HKU is very diverse in the program offerings, as well as how these programs are being recognized by rankings worldwide. Our professors are also top-notch and very international at the same time. Close to 2/3 of them are international, so they're not from Hong Kong locally. And again, to showcase the fact that to look for an international study environment is not restricted to countries like North America or countries like in the Europe. You are definitely going to be able to find something very similar when you study in Hong Kong as well. In the last 15 years, HKU graduates have maintained virtually 100% employment rate, and QS also ranked us 10th most employable in terms of our graduate employability in the latest ranking. All students studying at one of the Hong Kong universities will be eligible to look for a job after they graduate and stay in Hong Kong. And that's, I believe, is an excellent way for students who would like to kickstart their career in Hong Kong at one of the multinational corporations. Obviously, we also offer clubs and societies on campus, sports clubs, cultural association. And the point is that even if none of the clubs suit your interest, you're very much welcome to start your own clubs. There are lots of halls and colleges and restaurants available for students. International students will be placed as one of those halls during the first year, and lots of options. Again, because of the location of the university, we're located in an urban setting where a lot of expats live in the area. So you have lots of different options near campus as well. The University of Hong Kong consists of 10 different faculties offering 48 undergraduate degrees, and those 48 undergraduate degrees in total offer approximately 100 majors and minor options for students to choose from. And in terms of the international exposure of the university, before COVID-19, over 10,000 overseas learning experiences have taken place in just one single year. That's really impressive, as students can choose from a wide range of exchange partners we have established. For example, universities in North America, in Europe, and obviously increasingly popular universities in Asia as well. From those 46 destinations, students are very much welcome to go on a semester exchange or annual exchange. And if none of that fit the schedule, they can even go during the summer as well. Students are highly encouraged to do so. And as COVID-19 has improved, we are also sending students this past semester, to go study abroad as well. I'm very excited to see these students being able to go and also to bring back those experiences to enrich the student community as well. Now, what I want to talk about today will focus on the dual degree program. So at the moment, HKU has six, as you can see, has established 6 undergraduate level dual degree arrangement with universities in North America, in Europe, as well as in mainland China. So obviously I will be talking through them. And essentially these dual degree programs are for students who are interested to gain more than 1 degree in the undergraduate years. So for most of these programs, students will gain 2 degrees. So hence the reason why they're called dual degrees in 4 years' time. So let's talk about them in detail. Now, the first one I would like to mention is our collaboration. It's a collaboration between HKU Business School and the UBC Solder School of Business. So this is UBC, as many of you already know, is located in Canada. And a student in this particular program will be able to gain a Bachelor of Business Administration from HKU and a Bachelor of Commerce from the UBC. So taking advantage of the curriculum design, they can take different majors at different school. They would be spending 2 years each at each of the university. They have access to opportunities such as co-op, which is a big thing, for UBC, and mentorship opportunities at each of the university as well. So again, great thing, great opportunity for students who want to gain more out of undergraduate studies. In terms of application, there will be the UBC applications that students have to complete. In addition to a supplemental application for this particular dual degree, the application information can be found on the website. So if you want to find out more or you have questions later on, you're very much welcome to do that as well. So let me go through all the programs very quickly. And the next we have is an HKU Peking University dual degree in the area of economics, finance, and management. This is a 4-year degree. Students will spend 2 years at HKU first and then finish the degree at Peking U. They are not required to speak Chinese or to demonstrate any Chinese proficiency for admissions purposes. The application has not yet started. And if you're interested, you can apply through the HKU Business School or take a look at the admissions requirements as well. That is posted on our website, and we will notify students as soon as the application starts. Yeah, so this is a program that we have in collaboration with the Guanghua School of Management at Peking U, very well renowned, and an excellent program for students who would like to gain exposure both in Hong Kong, a very international place, and also to establish their China connection early on in the undergraduate time, during the undergraduate times. Now, probably for European students, the program that is more well-known is the HKU Sciences Po dual degree program. So this is, again, a 4-year degree leading to a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Social Sciences or a Bachelor of Business Administration from HKU, as well as a Bachelor of Arts from Sciences Po. Students will spend the first 2 years at Sciences Po and finish at HKU in year 3 and year 4. Again, different majors available for them to choose from each of the university. And the application will be done through Sciences Po directly. I believe the deadline will be in the spring. So if you want to take a look at the application, take a look at the opportunities as well, do visit the Sciences Po website. We do have a sharing by one of our students later on, we pre-recorded, so you're welcome to also hear from him about his experience at Sciences Po. And next in line, the HKU UC Berkeley dual degree, with obviously UC Berkeley located in the Bay Area in the US. A 4-year degree leading to a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Social Sciences from HKU, and a Bachelor of Arts from UC Berkeley, particularly under the School of Letters and Science. Year 1 and 2 at HKU and year 3 and 4 at UC Berkeley. Again, different majors available at different universities. Students would have to start the UC application in order to apply to this program, and using that UC application number to complete a supplemental application for consideration of this particular dual degree program. So if you want to be considered for a world-class education at both HKU and UC Berkeley, definitely consider this particular program arrangement. And HKU UCL dual degree in law, a 4-year degree leading to an LLB from each of the university. Students spend 2 years, again, 2 years each of the university. Application either to HKU or UCAS and not both. So if you want to be considered for this program, there's a special note here. You can only apply to either HKU or UCAS. And if you apply to both, your application will be disqualified. And there are slightly different requirements that each of the university as well. So for example, if you apply through UCAS, you will be required to provide your LNET results. So for students who want to study a law program, gaining the perspective from both Hong Kong and UK, both running common law, but with Hong Kong having an increasing focus in China-related affairs and China-related laws as well, this program will really give students a very different perspective depending on their interest. Last but not least, an HKU Cambridge joint recruitment scheme. So this is the only program here that's not a dual degree. The fact that the reason being that students will first have to be admitted into HKU to be considered for this program. So this is also the only program focusing on engineering or natural sciences. And students potentially can gain 3 degrees in 5 years' time. So 2 bachelor degrees from 1 bachelor degree from HKU, 1 bachelor degree from Cambridge, as well as a master degree from Cambridge as well, upon the completion of 5 years of study. This program, the unique aspect of this program is a student doesn't have to submit a separate application for consideration. All they need to do is apply to HKU based on the stream. They can either apply to engineering or they can apply to science. And during the first year, there will be a selection involved where students will have to go through, for example, interviews, written tests, as well as an UCAS application so that they will be considered by Cambridge for this particular joint recruitment arrangement. I believe this is truly a one of its kind program for students who would like to gain not just 2 bachelor degree, but also a master degree upon 5 years of study. So focusing on engineering, computer science, or natural sciences. So if students are not selected for this program, obviously they are very much welcome to stay in their own institution, right? And then stay at HKU to complete their regular engineering / computer science or a natural sciences degree. So with that, I think I've covered a lot of grounds regarding the dual degree arrangement and also how you can apply. So now I want to pause for a little bit and also show you sharing by one of our students who is a current fourth year student at the HKU Sciences Po dual degree. So that he will tell you a little bit about why he chose the program and what is so special and unique about this program. So here, let me pause very quickly and reshare my screen. And go. So we will, let me, right, let's begin sharing.
Hello everyone, my name is Max Emilian. I'm French and I'm going to talk today a little bit about my Sciences Po HKU dual degree experience. So yeah, let's get going. So who am I first? So I'm a French dual degree student. I was raised in France from my first anniversary to the time I was 11 to 12 in Normandy, in the north of France. And then I moved to Hong Kong in 2014. So I spent 4 years in Hong Kong for high school, basically, where I took my French baccalaureate. I was studying at the French International School of Hong Kong, that you may know. I'm currently a fourth year student in the dual degree. So my last year is now in HKU, second year in HKU, and so I spent 2 years in Sciences Po in the major of economics and societies, and here in HKU I'm studying in the Faculty of Business and Economics. So in the Bachelor of Business Administration, and my major is wealth management, so basically finance. So first, why did I choose this program? What's from my background, one thing that can come out is the Europe and Asia duality, and I really like that, the fact that I live both in France and in Hong Kong, and I thought that this program was funny because basically when I chose to do the dual degree, I asked for the Le Havre campus in Sciences Po, which is also in Normandy, so that was a cool turnover. And I thought that this program was really complete, and yeah, there was this Europe Asia duality that I really like, that I want to dig in. At the same time, it will enable me to continue learning Mandarin. So I've now been studying Mandarin for 5 years, HSK4 in HKU now. And yeah, as I said, I've been living in both countries, and the two cultures are really interesting to me. So yeah, I think that was one of the main driver for me choosing this program, at least applying to this program. Of course, then you have external factors that are non-negligible, such as the recognition of the degree, the quality of the teaching, and there is another thing that I will emphasize later, which is the diversity of classes and subjects taught, especially in Sciences Po, where you spend 2 years really touching a bit of everything, which is so interesting because a lot of time just after high school you don't really know what you want to do, and for the 2 last years it's really great to be able to focus on one particular subject in HKU. So for that, I think the program is really complete, and I really like that. So what is the program about? The 2 years in Sciences Po, of course, are the 2 first years. I was in the Normandy Le Havre campus, which is in the north. It's a very small campus. You have roughly 150 people per annum, which makes a campus that contains around 3 to 350 students. There's a very good environment, really healthy. You get to know a lot of different people, which is really nice. And as I said, the content of the class is really interesting because I've been touching law, economics, history, Chinese, sociology. You have so many subjects that you can take, as well as so many free electives, so specific subjects. And I think that's really interesting for personal development because you get to realize what is offered to you, what you can really do in the future. Because sometimes I know people that going out of high school, they just know about three jobs they could eventually do. Maybe work in finance or work in law, but that's very general channels. And studying very different subjects at the same time in Sciences Po makes you realize that there is so many possibilities, and that's really interesting. And that also helps you selecting what you like and you don't like. I think that's one of the greatest points of these 2 years. These 2 years are also very great because in Sciences Po you have a great association life. I was personally the rugby captain of the rugby team in Le Havre. I was also part of the football team, and I was part of a band, music band. So yeah, for that was also really great. Then moving on to HKU, the experience is a bit different because this time it's a very large campus. I don't know exactly how many we are in my major, but there is maybe in my major already like 150 people per annum. So that makes a very large campus. It's maybe harder at the beginning to meet people, but at the same time you often come with people you've learned you met in Sciences Po. Contrast, sorry, in terms of association life, because maybe it's harder to get in, because there is much more competition, because so many people want to get into associations. But at the same time, it's the greatest way to meet local people, to meet people that will make you learn something else. One thing that I might have forgot is the internationalism of these two universities is really amazing. I don't know, in Sciences Po in Le Havre, I think there was about 70% that was non-French. That's amazing for a French school. That never happens. In HKU also I've learned so many different nationalities, and that helps you like get to know so many cultures. And for personal, in terms of personal and professional development, I think that's really great. And of course, as I said, there's a very good teaching in HKU, and you have the opportunity to select a topic and to really focus on it. And so that gives you much more career specialty, which is perfect for the 2 last years. So yeah, just some pictures about the campus, and some pictures of, for my case, you can see on the left, that was the rugby team in HKU last year, when we had some competitions. On the right up hand side, you can see a picture of the band I used to play with in Le Havre, and on the downside you can see the football team on the right in blue, in the Le Havre campus. So only good memories, just to give you some pictures about my experience over there. Importantly, what does the two experiences in France and in Hong Kong means you in terms of career prospects, career opportunities? I think in that sense they have pretty different roles. So as I said, Sciences Po gives you a view of many subjects, so it really opens your working possibilities, and also the fields that you might get interested in, that you did not really thought about before. What I want to specialize now in is not really what I used to think when I was in high school. So yeah, in that sense, that's really important as a starter, I'd say, the first 2 years. At the same time, in Sciences Po, you have many interesting speakers coming in. I've seen speakers like journalists, lawyers, ambassadors, activists, just specialists in some historical topics. So yeah, was very interesting. And Sciences Po also gives you the opportunity to study then in the masters and to enjoy from the big network you can see in France. I think HKU is much more concrete on that part. Of course, you also have great international teachers. As I said, it offers you a specialty in a subject you wish to dig in. But the main advantage, I think, the comparative advantage with HKU is that so many international companies come to HKU to find students to offer some jobs. In the Faculty of Business and Economics, we always receive offers from HSBC, from big four consulting companies, from the major investment banks in Hong Kong. So I think that's really a plus. because basically the companies know they know that that HKU is a high ranked university, and so they know the quality of the teaching, and so they come to you rather than you always coming to them. Basically, you have so many offers, and yeah, I think that's one of the main advantages. So would I have any advices for you? I mean, of course, check out all the schools, because you need to find the school that's most adapted to your prospect, to your expectations in terms of studies. But if you want to do it, if you think that might be good because you don't really want to what to do later, or whatever, really go for it. I think this dual degree is amazing. And when you get in, just take the most out of each person you see, because you're gonna meet so many different people with different experiences, with different backgrounds, with different cultures, families, and that's really a plus for personal enrichment. It's 2 years where it's 4 years where you should study, but also join clubs, get involved in the activities and party, of course. Really take some time for you and enjoy. Just enjoy the life over there, because it's two very different cities, but two amazing cities for that, and two great campuses. And the fact that it's two very different cities, I think you also have the opportunity to learn about very contrasting cultures, and yeah, just enjoy it. That's really a cool experience, and I really recommend joining the dual degree. And if you want some more talk with me, if you have some questions about my experience, about my subjects, please contact me. And yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. I just want to take this time very quickly because kind of student already mentioned there are many good things that you can look forward to at the university, and also the dual degree offerings that we have, and regardless of which one you go to. And I think the great thing is that also you do not have to know Chinese, although we do support students to have that kind of Chinese, as you can heard from Max that he did take Chinese as a course, and he's been doing it for 5 years, both in his high school as well as at university. And actually, we highly support students to do that if they do want to explore that route. So offering really a great chance, a great opportunity for students to have that kind of the first-hand experience to stay, either regardless of whether they want to develop the career in this part of the world and go back to the home country, but also obviously have more connections that would help them develop their career in their home country as well. I think the dual degrees offer excellent choices for them to do just that. Before we go into Q&A, just very quickly, so that I can talk a little bit about the admissions requirements. Do note that this is the admissions requirements for the single degree program, but this does give you some idea of what, in terms of the admissions, what the University of Hong Kong is looking for. For you to be considered for the dual degree program, you have to meet both the requirements by each of the institution. So in the HKU side, we look at students based on the international qualifications examinations they can present, including obviously the IB A-level, French baccalaureate, or even regional national exams, depending on where you complete your high school. The main round application for students applying to single degree, so this is a deadline for single degree applicants, will be November 17, 2021. Again, for different dual degrees, they have different deadline as well, so do stay tuned on our website. HKU single degree also would operate on a rolling basis after November 17th as well. And another point I want to make here is that even if you are not being considered, so we highly recommend students to apply to our single degree, and on top of also the dual degree if you're interested, and the results of whether you will be accepted for dual degree and a single degree, they will be assessed individually, independently. So make sure you do, if you're interested in single degree offered by us, do submit an application that way as well. We have some reference information in terms of the previous intake, the score academic results that we may require for the students. So you can refer to that on the website, go into too much details. There is a language requirements by the University of Hong Kong. So you are in fact required to meet the English requirements, as well as a second language requirements, which is not a Chinese requirement. So it can be any language other than English, so that for you to meet that requirements. And program requirements depending on your program of study. For most of our humanities related subjects or humanities related programs, there are no subject requirements as far as HKU is concerned. So do take that note, but as you're applying to do a degree, make sure you fulfill the requirements of both the universities that have put up their requirements on the website. Make sure you meet those requirements before you submit your application to increase your chance. I think this is probably, I would probably just skip through here. HKU application does require a personal statement. So you are required to submit that. If you're applying to a dual degree program, some of them may require you to submit a separate personal statement or a separate essay, depending on the program. So you want to also take note of that. And last but not least, yeah, I want to just kind of give out some information about the university website or social media account in case you want to follow. And we do have upcoming sessions available as well. For some of the dual degrees, there will be promotion talks, especially on October 30th, which will be our annual information day for HKU. So we expect that we will have some information, more information for you on the dual degree programs, and you will be able to speak to the program director directly on that date. So do mark your calendar and go to a website and see if there's anything that you would like to learn more about dual degree programs. And with that, I think I will probably pause here and then we'll go straight to Q&A.
Great, thank you so much, Ying. We have quite a few questions here to power through. So let's start off with the first. Where do I complete the supplemental application for HKU UBC dual degree at the HKU side or the UBC side?
Yeah, it will be through the UBC side, but there is a website. And we actually already have that information available on our website. Perhaps it may also help for me to quickly share that information. So as you can see, there's this website right here. So let me just go to that page so that you have an idea of, you know, the where you can find that kind of information, because obviously students may be interested in different dual degree programs. Allow me to quickly share my screen. Now here we are on the HKU admissions website. So this is just admissions.hku.hk. Once you're on this page, select programs and dual degrees, then you will be redirected to the dual degree page where we have all the dual degree arrangement available. Now, if you want to learn more about the UBC dual degree program, is right here. Then you scroll down in terms of the admission standards and application procedure. There's already a place where you can see, you know, there's the UBC online application. We redirect you to the right page, as well as the supplemental application where you can fill that. The application has not officially started for this program, as you can see here, but you can already have a general idea of what they would require for the supplemental application. The essay that's listed here, which essentially is what we've done for last cycle, and you will be, I believe you'll be also be invited for an interview as well. So here, just a quick kind of a walkthrough rundown so that you would know, regardless of which program you want to be considered for, there will be something for you available on this webpage.
Thank you so much. We have a question here. Can you go into more detail about the application to HKU Berkeley dual degree program?
That's also along the same line, actually. The Berkeley program, let me just also walk you through that, just in case. I mean, you have a difficult time finding the information. It's right here. So you can just go click explore more. Then you would go to actually a dedicated page that's hosted on the Berkeley website about, you know, how you can apply to the program. there's the admissions information, right? And then you can see there is the UC Berkeley supplemental application, which you are required to complete. And all you need to do is to go through the UC application. You have to get the UC application number and then use that to fill the HKU UC Berkeley supplemental application form. So as you can see, this application has already opened, and there are some further instructions on what to write and what you may be required to provide that will meet the requirements of both universities. And I believe you will also be invited for an interview later on in the admissions process.
Thank you. And
So,
would
yeah,
this
I
be
hope
the same
that's-
for Cambridge as well?
Cambridge is the only odd one out, actually. So if there's I see a questions on
Yeah,
Cambridge.
natural sciences.
It's basically the only odd one out because it's not a dual degree program. It's a direct admissions program.
Okay.
So students have to get into HKU either at the Faculty of Engineering or the Faculty of Science, and go through additional selection during the first year to be considered for the Cambridge track. Now, they would probably already know the results by end of first year for Cambridge, so they would know whether they would be selected. They would be able to go through additional screening, completing the UCAS application and all of that. Then they would have an option to stay. If they receive a Cambridge offer, then they would have the option to say whether they want to go for Cambridge after the end of the second year, so they can complete the third year onwards at the University of Cambridge. In terms of the admissions, do note that all of these dual degree programs are extremely competitive in the sense that we generally do not take more than 10 students per cohort for these programs. So as you can imagine, extremely competitive. But if you're very interested, right, I think definitely do go for it, because we are in fact always looking for students who can enrich and help diversify the different university campuses as well. So definitely take the shot. Ask yourself, why do you want to apply to this program? Why do you want to go to these two different universities? Why do you want to study the program of your choice? And just, I believe these programs add a lot to both, not just to you as a student or as an applicant, but also to us as a university, for us to really have a more diversified student population. As you become a student at each of these campuses, you also bring in those experiences and perspective to us. So we highly value these programs and value what students can give and can provide to us as well. So definitely give it a try. And I believe that you'll get a lot out of the application process and also everything else as well. So do go for it. Don't just focus on the requirements, although I think some of the programs may have the requirements explicitly listed, some of them may not. But do refer to that. If you want to get kind of like an idea for past admissions, do also refer to, I think one good way for you to do so is to go to the HKU website, look for similar programs, kind of what are the scores requirements, and you would be probably be asked for something higher because it is a more competitive program, but that would give you kind of a point of reference. But I believe most programs do not actually have an explicit score listed out for the dual degree program. So you want to keep that in mind as well. So that's probably also in response to some of the other questions from students regarding the requirements. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all good. And the next question, where and how will the dual degree interview be held for HK students? Will it be online? Will it be in person?
Yeah, most of the dual degree interviews will be done online given the current situation. Although obviously not everything is fixed, not everything is set in stone. So for example, if you're a student currently studying in Hong Kong, hypothetically, that you may be invited for a physical interview where you may sit through, there may be panels from Hong Kong HKU where obviously they would be physically interviewing you, as well as panel from the overseas institution who may be joining the interview virtually as well. So this is a possible interview arrangement, although not all of that has been confirmed yet. But at least I can give you from the experience from last year, a number of those were done online purely online as well. So you can keep that in mind because we do understand that it would be difficult for students to travel.
Of course, and are the recommendation letters mandatory?
Depending on the program, again, at HKU, we highly recommend students to provide at least one reference letter. In some of these dual degree programs, depending on our partner universities' requirements, they may also require a reference letter or even more reference letters. So that entirely depends on the program you apply to. Just all you need to do is make sure you meet the requirements, which is stated on the website, either on the website or through the application portal. So they will let you know what would be required and make sure you fulfill that. And from the HKU perspective, we would highly prefer students to have at least one.
Okay, great. And what does the IB score for each major mean on the official website?
Okay, so you probably are referring to the admission standards listed, or the expected lower boundary listed on the website. So actually, a quick way for you to understand what those scores for individual major and program means. First and foremost, those are programs that refer to, those are the score that refer to a major, the single degree offered by HKU only. So that does not apply to dual degree, first and foremost. And the expected lower boundary score means that that's what we expect the students entering the university with the lower end of the score of the student entering university into that particular program. So that would give you some idea of what kind of score will make you more likely to be accepted. So if you do not meet that, that means probably based on previous year statistics, you do not quite get, you're not quite at the level in terms of academic ability, not quite at the level of what the program or what the faculty is looking for. That doesn't mean that there's absolutely zero chance for you, but I think that's a factor that you should probably take into consideration when you are submitting your application and deciding which program choices, how you want to place them as well.
Great, thank you. And at the moment, are your classes online or in person or both?
Yeah, great question. So we have done, all the courses right now are being done physically right now for this semester. So we've resumed physical teaching for 2021 semester 1 already. Now, that being said, we know some students have difficulty accessing campus. So there are some arrangement being offered exceptionally for students in those kind of scenario who have like really significant difficulty to come to Hong Kong, either due to like immigration policy restrictions and things like that. But other than that, we expect that probably as things improve, that we will continue to stay offline. And that, I believe, is also what the university would want students to have, because of the fact that, you know, the university learning is much more than just taking classes. And in fact, students don't spend that much time in class either on a weekly basis. I think probably on average 20 hours-ish a week. So a lot of the learning takes place outside the classroom. And I think that the offline teaching is really the way to go. And I think given a much improved COVID-19 situation, that is something that students shouldn't worry too much about. And we also, I think there's another question about whether students will be able to travel to Hong Kong. I think I saw that question. And the fact that student with a valid student visa will be able to enter university, provided that, you know, there are certain restrictions in terms of, for example, whether students have been vaccinated or not, whether students have been at a particular location before they arrive in Hong Kong and things like that. So we do allow students and to enter Hong Kong after they've completed quarantine. They will be able to come to campus to have physical classes as well. Just to give you some reference, we have probably over 800 non-local students. I think probably more than that. We just did an orientation for them last month. There are about 800 non-local students who joined, and these include, you know, obviously first-year students as well as the exchange students. So as you can see, a lot of them were able to enter Hong Kong. So I think that probably would be increasingly easier as well as we go on into, for example, in 2022 and 2023 as things improve. So yeah.
Great, thank you. How can I gain accommodation advice? Is it better to live on campus?
Yeah, so all students, if you're non-local students, you will be given preference in the dormitory placement, which means that you have a significant advantage because we do consider you first to be placed in one of the halls. In most cases, most, if not all, of the international students will be placed in the dorm offered by the university during the first year. That being said, I think the hall concept of hall may be different in Asia than from other countries because the hall, some halls have a very strong culture, have a very strong sense of traditions and things of like what they require or expect students to do and join. So I think students should probably also take that into consideration when they consider whether they want to stay in a dorm continuously in the future after the first year, for example. So we, although we do not guarantee students can reapply first year after the first year and be considered for 1 or 2 to stay in the dorms, and it's perfectly possible for students to stay in the dorm for all 4 years if finance is an issue. But we also see a lot of students sharing, a flat with their peers near university, making the rent also more affordable as well. So these are obviously options for students to consider.
Thank you. Another question just came in. Indonesia's national exam was cancelled in 2018. Does that mean only IB and A levels are accepted for Indonesia's admission?
Yeah, for Indonesian student, all the students will be considered. If you're not studying an international qualification, you'll be considered based on your school curriculum. So that would include your high school transcript, that will include your school final results, and all that will be taken into consideration because we are aware of the cancellation of the exams.
Great, thank you. And in terms of tuition fees for each course, are there different prices for each fee? There is a question here about particular tuition fee on the website. Also, students classified as having the right to land based on HK immigration. Does the local HK student tuition fee still apply?
Yeah, perhaps I could make it more broad, so it will also benefit students from international students. So regardless of what, so for most of our dual degree program is arrangement, and it's actually a similar principle for our single degree arrangement as well. So you students will be paying according to which university they would be studying at. So for example, if they do the HKU Sciences Po dual degree, then they will be paying the Sciences Po fee in the first 2 years and then paying the HKU fees in the year 3 and year 4. That being said, they may be offered scholarship for by one of the university or by both the university. So then obviously that scholarship will cover the time that they spend in that particular institution. And when we consider students as tuition fee, that would also depend on the tuition fee that apply to that particular student in the context of that particular school. So for example, you're a French citizen, you have you're a French student. So when you're studying Sciences Po, obviously you'll be paying the fee as how a French student would pay for the tuition fee locally, which obviously, as you probably know, will be a lot cheaper. If you're a Hong Kong student, when you apply to that particular dual degree for your time in Hong Kong, then you will be paying the local student fee as a Hong Kong resident. Now, what counts as a Hong Kong resident would depend on whether you have the right to abode in Hong Kong, and I think in most cases that would I have to defer to the expertise of the immigration department. But basically, if you do not require a student visa to study in Hong Kong, you will be considered a local student. So you can probably check that information before you enroll, because I think sometimes the exact definition may change depending on depending on the year. But the general principle is that if you don't need a visa, you will be considered a local student.
Of course. And do you need to pay for submitting a personal statement, or can you do that for free?
That's an interesting one. I've never heard of this question before. So no, when you submit a personal statement, you just submit the personal statement. There's no additional fees. Now, if you're considering dual degree programs and also HKU single degree program, you may be required to pay more than once, depending on the on the program you're applying to. So for example, if you are submitting a UC application, right, then obviously you will be paying for the UC application. But at the same time, you want to be considered for HKU, then you would also apply to HKU, then you'll be paying another, application fee as well. But there's no particular fee associated with, just submitting a personal statement in itself.
Okay, and lastly, are there any scholarships for international students?
Yes, all students will be considered for scholarships automatically. For HKU single degree, you will be considered based on your application directly. There are other scholarships you can apply to. If you want to find out more information, admissions.hku.hk is your friend. So make sure you go through that website and find out relevant information. And the same way, students will also be considered for scholarships for their application to the dual degree program, subject to different universities' scholarship arrangement. So for example, some university only offers scholarships to local students, depending on their arrangement. In the case of HKU, we will just assess your application based on your merit. You will be considered for scholarships during your time at HKU, and you will also be notified if you do receive a admissions offer from us.
Right, well, thank you so much for answering all the questions. There were quite a few there. Thank you guys for attending and also asking brilliant questions. I'm sure this will help a lot of people who are seeking to travel in Hong Kong. And are there any last words from you, Yang? I feel like you've covered everything.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for the session again. I hope that you would consider applying to HKU as well as one of our dual degree programs that would best meet your interest. Do make sure you keep looking at the website so that you don't miss any deadlines, as all these programs are different in terms of the assessment as well as the deadline. So make sure you do keep looking for those information, especially if there's a particular program that you're very interested to apply, so that you don't miss anything.
All right, thank you so much. And everyone watching on demand, they will also be sent the video through an email after the recording has taken place. We also have a few other videos on the Viva-Mundo website for you to have a browse through if you want to learn more about University of Hong Kong. All right, thank you so much for everything, everyone, and we will see you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.